It is the first week of August. You know what that means. It is less than a month away until college football. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Alabama Crimson Tide 2023 football schedule. Now, this one might surprise you with my predictions, but just to go ahead and crack into it. On September the 2nd, the Crimson Tide play against the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Bryant-Denny Stadium. This is an obvious choice here. The Crimson Tide's gonna win it. Saban is never, if rarely, gonna lose to an unranked non-conference team. I think the only unranked loss he's had in a while was to Texas A&M, and that was just an already conference game, and that was, I think, 2 years ago. I might be wrong. But the Crimson Tide, I am for sure that the Crimson Tide will come out of here with the victory. And then in week 2, you have a huge rematch compared to last year against the Texas Longhorns. Now, last season, when the Crimson Tide and the Longhorns faced off against each other, it was in Texas, and the Crimson Tide won by 1 point with a last-second field goal. Now, this year, I do believe that the Crimson Tide might be a little bit of a step down in production of talent, but I do believe because it is in Tuscaloosa, this will be 7 p.m. Eastern Time. On September the 9th, I do believe the Crimson Tide will eke out a victory against Texas. I do think it's going to be more higher scoring than it was last year. I do predict Bama will win by at least 7, 8 points, somewhere around there. I still think it'll be one possession, but I do think Bama will win. And then in week 3, you have an interesting game. As on September the 16th, the Crimson Tide traveled to Tampa to play against USF at 3:30 Eastern Time. Interesting, because it's rare that Alabama plays a away non-conference game against a Group 5 team. Now, the USF Bulls, are a Group 5 team. Now, Alabama doesn't play away games at Group 5 teams. Usually, the Group 5 teams are paying to come play at Alabama. So, this is an interesting game here. I think this will be a very fun and interesting game. USF had a very good game with Florida last year, where they almost eked out a victory. I do believe that Alabama will also win this one. Start their season 3-0. They'll look good. They'll look sharp. And then they'll leave Tampa looking good with a good decisive victory. Then in week 4, September 23rd, against Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss, this is another season with Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss started good last year. They started out with a really good record, where they originally started out winning 7 games, but they would end up losing 5 of their last 6, counting their bowl game. Now, Ole Miss, last year when they faced the Crimson Tide, they only lost by a touchdown, and it was in Oxford. So I do believe this year. It will be in Alabama. I do think that the Crimson Tide will win again, and I think it's going to be more of a blowout victory. I wouldn't say shutout. I wouldn't say crazy blowout, but I think it'll be 17 points plus of a victory. And then in week 4, the Crimson Tide go to Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville, Mississippi, to play the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Now, over the offseason, Coach Lane Kiffin, or not over the offseason, it was before their bowl game, Coach Lane Kiffin passed away unexpectedly. I do want to see Mississippi State win this for Kiffin, but I do believe that Alabama is just going to be too good This is going to be another one of those victories, but I think this game will be a lot closer than people will expect. This is going to be one of those really, really close games. I wouldn't call it a scare, but I think it'll be close. And in week 6, the Alabama Crimson Tide visit in a second week in a row. They will have an away game as they go to College Station, where they face off against the Texas A&M Aggies. Now, last season, when Alabama faced off against Texas A&M, it went a little iffy. The Crimson Tide played at home. Texas A&M almost ended up winning that game. It was a 4-point loss. So this year, it's in Texas A&M. This could be a shocker for most people, but I do have Texas A&M losing. I do have them losing. A lot of people have Texas A&M to have a good bounce back year, and I do too. I think Texas A&M has a great bounce back year, but I don't see them beating Alabama. This is Alabama after all. I think this is going to be close like it was last year. I think it could be closer, but I'm still going to take Bama as the victor. Give me a 2 or 3 point win for Bama, and don't be surprised, and I won't be surprised if Texas A&M wins, because this is just going to be one of those games where you never know. It's almost anybody's game. And then the next week, on October 14th, Alabama plays against the Arkansas Razorbacks in their homecoming game. Arkansas last season had a good start. They went 3-0 to start at their season. But I do believe that Alabama's going to win this one. It's homecoming. Arkansas's really been kind of iffy. They've looked great. They've looked bad. They've looked in the middle. I think Alabama wins this decisively. Maybe something like 41-17, 41-20, something like that. So that will start off their season at 7-0. Then on October 21st, you have the rematch of probably what was my favorite game last season, as the Tennessee Volunteers travel to Alabama in probably the biggest, or one of the top 3 biggest rematches of last season. This could be another upset win, but I think the players are just going to be, I think they're going to come into the game mad. I think they're going to be ruthless. I think Tennessee's defense won't be able to stop Bama, and I think Bama's defense is going to be able to do well stopping the pass attack. They don't have Jalen Hyatt. They don't have Hendon Hooker. I do think Alabama wins this one, and it's not going to be close. I think Bama's going to win by 2+ possessions. So I think Bama will start off their season 8-0. And then there's the bye week, and then on November 4th, LSU will play at Alabama. And in this game, as I said in the beginning of the video, some things might shock you, and I just have the Tigers winning this one. I really do think. I think Alabama's going to come out of the game against Tennessee cocky. I think they're going to be underprepared through the bye week, and I think they're going to come against LSU, and I think they're going to lose. I don't think this game's going to go into overtime like it did last year. I think it's going to be a bigger win for LSU than people think. This game could be close. I'm going to give LSU the win by anywhere between 4 to 8 points. I do think a lot of Alabama fans are going to be shocked, but not down for the count, as the week after, they do play against Kentucky. At Kentucky, at Kroger Field. I do think Alabama, as they did with the rematch against Tennessee, I think they're going to come mad after the loss after LSU, and I think they just absolutely wipe the field with Kentucky. I think Bama wins, and they win big. Then on November 18th, Alabama plays Chattanooga at home. This is going to be that normal FCS game before their big rivalry game against Auburn. Obvious win for Bama here. I mean, it's yeah. And then November 25th, Alabama will play at Auburn. I think this game is going to shock a lot more people. And I think a huge prediction that a lot of people are afraid to make would be picking Auburn. And now, last season when they played, Alabama won 49-27, but that was in Tuscaloosa. I I hate to say it, but I think Auburn's going to win this one. You know, they have a new coach in Hugh Freeze. It's going to be huge and crazy for a first-time head coach. Well, I wouldn't say first time, but a first-year head coach to defeat Saban. But this is in Auburn. This is after Brian Harsin got fired, and then in came what's his face as the interim head coach. I can't remember his name for the life of me. I do think that Auburn's gonna win this one, and it's gonna be pretty close. And that should end the season for Alabama at 10-2. My bad. I do think that they are not going to win the West. I think LSU is going to win the West. And I think that they're going to get a New Year's Six bowl game, probably the Sugar Bowl. I don't know. But if they do win the Auburn game, I do think they're in the playoffs. If they lose the Auburn game, then they're not. If they do win the Auburn game, they'll probably be the 4th seed. Now, if they beat LSU, I think they'll go to the SEC championship. And I think that if they do go to the SEC championship, they'd lose to Georgia, because I have Georgia going to the SEC championship. So a 10-2 prediction, most likely 11-2, but I myself, just to whittle things up a little bit, do think that Bama will go 10-2 again, as they did last season. I think we're on the final steps of Saban's career at Alabama. He's probably only got a couple of years left in him. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, subscribe, follow my Twitter, my Instagram. The names are down in the description, and I'll see you guys for the next video.